All right, welcome to a Bouncy Cam running edition. We're going to talk a little bit about patience. Sometimes I think that everybody should become an endurance athlete for a little while because it teaches you patience, and it's such a handy life skill. There's patience during the race, waiting for your moment. I grew up as a sprint swimmer, so you're talking less than 25 seconds, for a race, being like a 100-yard dasher or something like that, right? And then you get into endurance sports and you learn things like, if you don't feel good now, just wait a little bit. And if you do the right things, like fuel and hydrate and slow down, cool down if it's hot, warm up if it's cold. It's like a flow chart. Then you'll probably start to feel better, And so the patience I'm dealing with right now, I've got a race coming up in a few days. And I think there's two types of endurance athletes. Ultra endurance athletes. I think early on in your career, you get all into racing, and then you do these long tapers for your A race. Ironman is like 2 to 3 weeks of slowly going crazier and crazier until you're bouncing off the walls. And then there's another type. After a while, you fall in love with the training itself. And then you just maintain a medium high volume. And then on a moment's notice, you can say, yeah, I can do that race. And it opens up a whole world of different opportunities of racing. And then you're not so worried about peak performances anymore. I guess after you've had a few, you're more about enjoying the race. So anyway, so just a few weeks ago, found out about this race, went and pre-rode the race course with Kai to check it out, and I was like, holy crap, this could be really cool. So I thought about it about a week. I was like, yep, I think we ought to do this. And then because I maintain a medium high level of fitness, it's no problem. Just sign up. And this is a race I actually kind of want to race. Like, when you do crazy long stuff, basically you don't want to race it. You want to keep it where it's like a sustainable heart rate for you and effort level. And just, that's the discipline, is staying there, and you will have your best result. Say like 100-mile trail run race. You're going to do the best. The longer the day is, the better you'll do just staying within your limits. And that's the race, is how much can I stay within my limits and not get pulled out of it by somebody egging me on or forgetting where I am. So that's the kind of patience right there, is the patience of tapering, the patience of during the long race, like with tapering, I said, you want to start tapering and to time it and start backing off. You cut everything in half, and then you cut everything in half again. And then when are you bouncing off the walls? You time that. So that's race day. Look at handsome boy right there. He's so handsome. I think it's a wolf I found in the woods. He decided to hang out with me. I found him at a rave. Wait, hold on. I found him at a rave. Ooh, ooh. So my version of patience with those two things is I started training specifically for this race. A few weeks ago, a couple weeks ago. And then I think last weekend's bike volume cut it, I wouldn't say in half, but cut it down by a third. And then this week, like normally I would have biked today. And so I'm not. I'm doing an easy run instead, because part of tapering is still keeping your mind occupied with like, and wait, there's tricks to do that. Studying the race course and the weather and picking out your gear, any bike maintenance that you got to do, gear maintenance. One strategy is you put off some of that, not critical things, but things that are just kind of whatever. You put them off for taper week, and then taper week, you're busy with not working out, but with doing other things. It works out pretty nice. Pun intended. So then these things teach you patience. Patience with an injury. That's a big one. That's a pretty house, by the way. We got to stop for a moment and appreciate that house. Look at that thing. Come here, River, come back. Can I zoom in on that? It's like a plantation style house. It's a newer house, it's not old. Come on, zoom. There we go. Look at that thing, that's cool. It's got rocking chairs on the front. There we go. Okay, anyway. Oh, we got a car coming. Let's turn the light. 2 cars. Tree hanging over the road. It is cold, by the way. So yeah, the fact this race is going to be really, really cold. I got out and tested run gear, and I was looking for cold weather gear. It's like 3-4 days out from the race, and I can't. One thing I've learned is so cool is if I can't find something or I can't get something done, after a few tries, after spending a little bit of time, say you're looking for a glove or a shoe or something like that, stop. Realize that you'll probably find it as you're doing other stuff. And I swear it happens. It's the craziest thing. There's the whole law of trying too hard makes things harder. So if you act like you don't care, things start popping up in your favor. It's really funny. It's almost like the Costanza do the opposite, but not quite. Okay, you ready? Let's go. But anyway, there's another type of patient. Oh yeah, so I'm missing a sock. I want to find this sock really bad, and I'm also missing a slider. And so I'm like, I'll just give myself some time. I'll find it. Oh, and this run, on purpose, I'm going really slow and easy because this is still leg work, you know? And I'm running super, super easy and just keeping the legs moving. Another thing of patience, you know, I'm really excited about this race and I want to do well, but also patience. Now we're starting to get into long-term patience, really long-term. Is, you know what? If something happens with this race, it's got a crazy hairpin turn, like within a mile of the start. It's ridiculous. Kai and I, when we were pre-riding, I was like, oh my God, this is gonna be bad right here. Or if it was raining and we decided not to do it, the race will be there next year, you know? And anyway, the patience. Oh, patience building up your CTL. When I did Ultraman, I built my CTL up to 140 something. If you know what CTL is, that's insane. But I did it over a period of 9 months. I came within one spot of qualifying for half Ironman Worlds in the process of it, kind of by accident. I was in such great shape, and that was early on. And then I just kept getting faster and faster and faster just by being patient. Oh, I need to take some fuel. The longer I take on this run, the better. Things will be easier on my legs on race day in 2 days. I have a personal patience thing I'm struggling with right now. Actually, two of them, but one major one that really put me in a funk. So just to talk about how I'm not perfect, but I'll get to that after I talk about this other thing. After I give all this advice, I'll say it's always a work in progress. Oh, I need some water. The patience with difficult people. And let's say it's work or family, something like that. You really have to ask yourself, this is something I've learned, to really have to ask yourself, is this problem with this person, like you're in a lose-lose situation no matter what, is this going to be a problem forever, you know? And it's weird, as long as you're struggling with the problem and you're losing, in a weird way, you're kind of giving the other person the upper hand and letting them win. And this has to do with strategy and leadership and stuff like that. If it's a lose-lose situation, or it's a struggle, you got a family situation, and no matter what you do, you're going to piss off one person. If you don't piss off one, you're going to piss off the other. For example, you really have to remember that if you become detached from it a little bit, is there an animal? Is there some sort of animal? If you become detached, oh, there's a dog, there's a dog. If you become detached from it, and remember the big thing, if you become detached, you can outlast either the problem or the person or persons or both. And I can tell you there is no sweeter victory than winning an unwinnable war just through persistence and waiting. That's very Sun Tzu, Art of War. Very, very much. You don't fight battles you don't have to. The greatest battle is the one that was never fought, you know, because then nobody died. Let's go over. All right. My mom is a fantastic philosopher of sorts. You inadvertently learn things from your parents, either good or bad, about how to handle things. And I'll never forget, one time I was a young teenager. I think I was just about driving age, so like 15. And my mom had seen a lot growing up, and you can't rattle her. She's a master strategist. I don't know what's it called, general. And anyway, she pissed off somebody in traffic somehow. At an intersection. It was like a 4-way intersection. Might have been a light, might have not. And could have been a stop sign, was my point. But anyway, so this guy cuts her off. Cuts off in front of us. And as he passes us, flips off my mom. Giant middle finger as he goes by. I'm trying to be careful. This is a great place to trip and fall down. See all this rubble. Good trail running practice. Run into all kinds of crap. There's a spike in the ground somewhere around here. I can't even see it. It's kind of a problem. All right, you ready? Let's go. Let's go. And I said, oh my God, you gonna let him do that? Of course, I'm not even thinking, like, what would you do? And my mom said, there's nothing I can do to him that will make him feel worse about himself than he already does. And I was like, dude, that was so profound. Like, sometimes you don't have to react. You can do nothing. And as the situation plays out, you'll eventually win. And then you can celebrate later on. When we were younger, the reason I thought of her was when we were younger, the actual real patience thing was, we'd be on a road trip. We used to go from Texas to Tennessee every summer. Here, let's cross the road. Look at this small town living, 4-lane boulevard with a turn lane and no cars either direction. Isn't that crazy? Although it can get really busy. But after growing up in Houston and living in Chicago and San Diego, there's a certain beauty to emptiness and living on the edge of a country town. It's got its own magic. So, anyway, somebody would blow by us driving dangerously and speeding. And my brother and I were much younger. We'd say, oh my God, you see that guy? And my mom would say, don't worry, you'll get hit. And My mom also was a college counselor and had counseling, had sociology and psychology degrees. So she knew exactly what she was doing, you know, teaching my brother and I accidental Buddhism. And invariably, because the person was driving like an idiot, invariably, and we're on a road trip, so we're on the freeway for a while, you know, of course the person's pulled over down the road, and we're like, yeah, he got his, getting a ticket. So anyway, my point being is, if you're in an unwinnable situation with difficult people, if you don't react and act calm, unless you absolutely have to, like it's a life or death situation, it automatically puts you in a power position, kind of in a way of Gandhi's non-violent non-participation. People can only put you in your place or be terrible to you in a weird way if you only can do it if you allow them. It's kind of weird. So when somebody does something to you that's rude or wrong or anything, people forget one of the options is doing nothing in response and just waiting and watching and see what happens. It's amazing how often it works out in your favor. And go do something else with your time, just like taper week. If you've got a hobby, that's why it's really good to have a hobby outside of work. So like I say, it's a work situation, somebody makes you mad. What makes you mad is you feel out of control of the situation. So if you have your own thing that you do that you're in control of, that's why a lot of people work out. It's something that you can be in control of. Then you get that sense of control back, and you can segment off that work situation and work on your own thing. You can always be improving yourself. If you're frustrated at your job, one thing I tell people is, man, don't you have a hobby or something? Work is work. You're getting paid either way. If you ignore the bad situation, the bad person, and do your own thing, you gotta always ask yourself, are you, because these fall out of that category, are you being forced to work overtime and not get paid for it? No? Okay. Are you getting injured on the job? No? Okay. Well then, your frustration with work, are you asked to be doing work that's not part of your job description? No? Okay, well then it just sounds like you don't like your job. Well, and you're more frustrated with yourself. And when I've been in those situations, I found a hobby outside of work is really nice. You just work on the other thing. All right, let's start running. Let's go.